Trev, I feel like these questions are somewhat misogynistic because it's almost like you're trying to get women to lie on camera right now.
No, I expect. Listen. I came to the conversation in good faith, and I expect the woman to tell the truth. That's the expectation. What's going to happen, I have no control over.
So
But the intention was for people to be genuine.
No, I think you just made that up. He asked a clear question, a very clear cut question. I did not hear him say bad bitch anywhere in his statement unless I was incorrect and I missed that somewhere. And I also want to point out that the same way that there's ugly women and average women, there's ugly men, busted, dusted, crusted men and average men. So for every average, there's these most of these women, they're a bad bitch to somebody, right? They're a bad bitch to somebody. So at the end of the day, still, when you have the plumber with his butt crack out, that average woman who works at Walmart, listen, that's a bad bitch to him, okay? Like that's kind of how that goes. So what are we talking about? Again, you just added in another criteria.
I'll expound, and I figured it was a little bit of common sense, right? That a woman who is a certain level of attractive, it's almost impossible for her lifestyle not to match her her standards because it's going to come to her. She don't got to do nothing. It's just common sense, right? And I figured we didn't have to necessarily address it, but he's talking to the women. And maybe you can clarify, Trev. Were you talking about all women? Like, were you including the extremely beautiful, obviously, those women, or were you just talking about
So I actually I do have another question that I even want to add on to that, right? Because I think that
dang,
there's a lot of people who are.
Let everybody answer.
We just okay. Well, no, I'm not even trying to skip the question, but I have another question that kind of expounds on that. But I'm not even going to get into that. So all I'm asking, right? So if we're saying, are your standards? Are you asking for more than what your perceived value is? Right. That's it. Is there a space that you belong based on what it is that you bring to the table, what it is that you offer by default? Do you deserve a certain thing? Willie, he explained it in pretty much where you're going to get what you deserve. That's his standpoint from it. And some people don't think it's fair, and it isn't. But life isn't fair, right? There are some people who feel like no matter what place they are in life, that they deserve access to whatever based on I don't know. Some people might believe it's merit. Some people who may just believe, luck, fortune, whatever. But some people feel like they should have access to it no matter what it is that they're bringing to the table. Why are you telling me that I can't get a supermodel? I don't care if I'm 5'3". I'd still want a supermodel. And if I'm cool enough to this supermodel, she might like me enough for me to be able to bag the supermodel. Right? So that's where we're at with it.
Trev, I feel like these questions are somewhat misogynistic because it's almost like you're trying to get women to lie on camera right now.
No, I expect. Listen. I came to the conversation in good faith, and I expect the woman to tell the truth. That's the expectation. What's going to happen, I have no control over. But the intention was for people to be genuine.
So for me, right. So for me, I ask for consistency because I can give it. I ask for honesty because I give it. I ask for respect because I give it. In reference to you was talking about traveling and all that. If I can if I'm doing trips when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. So yeah, I can give it. So I expect it from you. So yeah, for me, yeah, I give what I ask for.
So I think there's two different things here, right? What Lakeisha just named, right, are emotional and intangibles, right? Those are the soft skills that people, right, want to do: character, morality, things like that, right? And so if you're talking about those type of things, I think people typically go after and get what they want, and if it's important to them. If they want someone who's moral, who's righteous and all that jazz, they get people who match their morality. If we're talking about more materialistic and aesthetic, I think to Willie's point, there are different currencies for men and women. And to Pretty's point, you can look pretty, have a bad body, do the things, and that means that your currency, right, or your value in the dating market is higher than someone who's not, because that's what we've set it up as, that looks are important to men. And for women, right, we've set it up where, you know, money can and status and certain things like lifestyle, right, is important to them. So there are plenty of women out here, and if you can look like, you know, in certain things where, yeah, because they're pretty, they're going to get more. Men, because they have money, they're going to get people who they wouldn't typically get because they are 5'3". But, you know, they're also making $1 million. So, I mean, I say go with who likes you and who matches you.
Yeah, I want to be on record saying I'm not one of those guys that think that things got to be equal. Or you want a man with money, but you ain't got no money. No, you don't need no money if you want a man with money. If you cute, or if you got what he looking for, that's all you need. You know, and we say all the time we don't care about a woman's money. You know, so I'm not one of those people that think things got to be even on both sides and stuff like that. So
I
Yeah,
agree
that's
with mine.
That's retarded.
I
What's
do
retarded?
think that. Oh,
To think that a dude asking a woman saying, "Well, I have money, so you have to have money too." I think that's fucking retarded. Like that's a telltale sign of a nigga that's a scammer. His money is short. It was short lived and probably is not gonna last long. A woman's money doesn't help. Women who make good money don't spend money on the house; they spend it on themselves. Especially when they have a man as a provider. They may plan a vacation or some shit. You know, they give fire birthday gifts. But if they're not contributing to the home, that money is, you know, their discretionary income because their husbands or whoever's provided for them afford them the opportunity to do so. Like a guy
Yeah,
makes
true.
money, he wants to have a family. Women make a bunch of money. They want to do it so they can be independent of a man. It's the same thing. It's not new.
I'll go back to what Lakeisha said because as I'm getting to know Lakeisha, she seems like a very grounded, genuine woman. And I believe that. She seems very fair and balanced. But what she delivered also sometimes sounds like a lot of women to where they believe that they can set the precedents based on their own set achievements. And I think the problem with that is sets a bad precedents because each person starts in a different level of their life, and what they create and is tangible or you measure it is a basis of decisions, sometimes reach, sometimes assistance. So basically, when I've always heard women say like, oh, like for example, a simple one, well, I have a mortgage, you pay rent. Girls will sometimes set that as a precedent. And it's like, yeah, but you also live in Maryland and I live in Los Angeles. You know, sometimes things are not just a basis of an exchange like that. And I think that's where right now the current thing, and we still don't give it enough credence, that dating right now is a very, very new exchange. Dating has not been a thing. We got to really like set the precedence of that. Most people got married. Dating is a new concept. Like it's probably 50 years old, maybe 60 years old. So I think we're still kind of learning how all of this goes. And then to my boy Willie's point, I get it. Generally, the sentiment when men are saying they don't care about women's money, that is a sentiment that masculine men share. However, I've gone on record saying we need to start calling more women losers. And actually, I advocate that men do not date women who don't make money, not basis on her contributing, but there's a mindset that comes and a respect that comes when you earn money. And if you're broke and you come over to my world and you think you're going to start picking stuff out, charging stuff up, and then I have to sit there and explain to you how this really works, I'm going to be irritated. It's not a lack of resource or, you know, the range of resource. It's the understanding of what comes with it. And I'll land.